Alright, we just got back from watching the new Smurfs movie, Smurfs-the Lost Village.
We're not in Smurf Village anymore.
Wow.
Now, you guys probably don't know this, but I'm actually a really huge Smurfs fan. And I think part of it is because I'm short, and growing up, this was the cartoon show that was always on when I was growing up and everything. And it was just, these were characters that I could definitely relate to just because of my height and everything. And so I was actually more than excited when Sony announced that they were actually redoing the Smurfs franchise, but this time it's going to be all computer animated, which I remember when I saw the very first Smurfs movie back in 2011, and I remember that opening scene where we see like Gargamel smashing through the Smurf village and everything. We see the Smurfs going through that, and in my back of my mind I was like, why couldn't we get a whole movie like this instead of them going into the lazy, real world plot and everything? And that's what actually this movie does, which I'm actually really thankful for and really excited about. So, this is a reboot, so all of the voice actors from the previous movie have been changed, even though unfortunately some of the voice actors who voiced some of the characters have sadly passed away, but they did replace everyone just to kind of show that this is a standalone. They make no references to Neil Patrick Harris or them going to New York or Paris. They actually treat this like their own movie.
Hey, I'm Demi Lovato, and I'm so excited to announce that I will be voicing Smurfette.
If you guys never saw the second episode of the original Smurf series or read, I believe it's the second comic, where they talk about the origins of Smurfette and how Gargamel created her and she was evil and everything, this movie will constantly actually remind you of that, because that is one of the focal points of this movie, as it's at the very beginning they actually tell you that it's about Smurfette as she tries to find herself, and because she doesn't know what an et is, and in fact nobody knows what an et is. And like in the cartoons and the comics, it was always explained that, you know, she's the girl Smurf because she's the only girl. Eventually in the cartoons they actually got a couple of other ones, but no one really talks about them so much. It's just about her just trying to find herself and everything. And Demi Lovato actually takes over Katy Perry from the role. It's very fitting. Like her voice didn't really make me miss Katy Perry, or I couldn't, like, I didn't even get to the point of comparison, to be honest, just because I saw her and I immediately saw Smurfette.
Just stay in the light, clumsy.
Now, I will say one of the new voice actors that did make me go with comparison is actually Gargamel. In this movie, he is played by Rainn Wilson, and he's actually the most famous for being Dwight Schrute from The Office. And I felt that Rainn did a great job as Gargamel, but Hank Azaria from the first two movies did such a phenomenal job, and unfortunately Wilson can't compare what Azaria brought in from the other two movies. That honestly, I kind of wish I can just kind of mix and match and just put Hank Azaria into the voice of Gargamel.
No. My agent told me it was a Gargamel movie. Gargamel, 2017.
As I said, Rainn Wilson does do a great job, and it is very believable as Gargamel. He plays the character really well, which I actually really appreciate. Now, I will say, I'm kind of wondering if Jack McBrayer, who does the voice of Clumsy in the movie, I'm wondering if he did this voice and voiced Fix-It Felix for Wreck-It Ralph 2 almost at the same time, because most of the movie we do get his interpretation of clumsy, which pretty well done. But there's some parts I just kept hearing "fix it, Felix," and like it's almost like, and especially when he starts yelling or getting really anxious, just that kind of stuff. It just goes into anxiety Jack McBrayer roles that we've seen him in other, like in 30 Rock and those kind of things. Now, something I actually really liked about this movie was the art direction and the animation and everything. It really reminds me of the classic Hanna-Barbera Smurfs cartoons, which it was a really welcome change. And especially one of my major complaints about CGI animation and 3D animation in general is just that the technology has gotten so great that everyone tries to make it as realistic as possible, and they try to make everyone move as realistic as possible. And this movie thankfully does not give us that. It gives us that cartoony feel into that we see characters move and like dance. Like we see like Gargamel do this kind of little twist thing. We see when people get hit, they have stars flashing above their heads. At one point in the movie, I swear, like some of the background items were all darkened, and then what the item that they need was like lighter, and it really just reminded me of that old cell animation background thing that like it was like really easy to tell which item was going to move and everything. And also was actually really good, which I really liked. Like it's just very little touches that they add into it. Like unlike the other two movies where the Smurfs' eyes were kind of wide apart, more realistic, over here we see the eyes are close together like they were in the classic comics and in the Hanna-Barbera cartoon. In fact, Brainy's glasses is actually just one big lens with a little thing in the middle, just like how it was in the classic cartoon. We see eyebrows go over the hats. It's all these small little touches that they add into it that just really makes it great. And actually what also makes it great is that we have so many colors, and obviously this is an animated film for kids, and colors is actually a very stimulating thing for them. It is actually really welcome that we have all these bright colors when they go into and try to find this new lost village. We see some animals that like glow. We have a green glowing rabbit that is named Bucky, and immediately when I saw a green rabbit named Bucky, I completely thought of Bucky O'Hare from the old 90s TV show that only lasted for like 13 episodes, but I'm pretty sure they were not referencing that. Has nothing to do with Hanna-Barbera at all. Probably the one thing I really liked about this movie, probably the best that I felt was much better than the two live-action movies, was that it really felt like a Smurfs adventure, and it felt like a plot that you would honestly expect from either a Smurfs episode or a Smurfs movie. And I swear there's that one point where we get like where we get a pan shot and everything, and it looked like it was the magic flute from the very first animated Smurfs film, Smurfs the Magic Flute, like the one that was actually not made by Hanna-Barbera. I could be wrong about that, but to me, it really looked like that. But it was so fast. So in here, like I said, the main plot of this movie is that Smurfette wants to find where her place is. What ends up happening is through a sequence of events, they discover that there is another Smurf village that they never knew about.
Is the lost village?
And they want to go and find it, especially Gargamel finds out about it. And
Gargamel!
And here we actually have Gargamel's plot is actually very well defined, unlike the actual original cartoon where we weren't sure if he wanted to take their power or he wanted to eat them. Over here, he wants their power to become like the ultimate wizard. They actually make that very clear from the very beginning, which is very appreciative. It's something we never got from the original cartoon series. So if you've seen some of the trailers and the TV spots, you will know what the Smurfs find in the Lost Village. But if you still consider that a spoiler, knowing what's in there, you might want to pause this video and come back to it after you've seen the movie, as I'm going to go ahead and start explaining from there. When the Smurfs actually find the Lost Village, we find out, like, those Smurfs, they're all female. And it's a very, like, twist kind of thing where, like, it's just something we've never actually seen in Smurfs. Like, just, where we have a whole village full of Smurfs. What's actually really cool about these female Smurfs is that they actually don't have blonde hair like Smurfette does, and they actually have like kind of like different style of clothing and everything, which is actually pretty cool. But like it's kind of like they kind of do that to make Smurfette more unique, especially since it's explained early on that like Smurfette was made by Gargamel and everything. And in fact, like actually in the very beginning of the film, we actually see Smurfette like in the evil black hair from that classic episode, which was actually really cool. Now, like the voice cast of the female Smurfs is actually really cool. Like we have Michelle Rodriguez, we have Julia Roberts, we do have also Ellie Kemper, and she was in Office. She's the star of Breakable Kimmy Schmidt, and I completely forgot to mention this in my Lego Batman review. Ellie Kemper really sounds just like Ellie Kemper, and we have some of the other celebrity voice actors in here. In fact, we actually have like some who do like cameos, like Bigger Smurf is Gordon Ramsay, Handy Smurf is Jeff Dunham. We just have like some of these celebrity cameos who kind of do like just one-off lines and everything, who are basically more likely portraying as them. Ellie Kemper in every role I've seen her do, especially animation wise, and I've only seen her I think in 3 animated films right now. That's Lego Batman, Secret Life of Pets, and this movie Smurfs Lost Village. And she plays Ellie Kemper. She plays that like really overexcited, kind of sweet girl that she's very known for playing.
Oh my cheese to Pete's! I'm Smurf Blossom. Nice to meet you. We do have Smurf Petal, Smurf Clover, Smurf Meadow, Smurf Daisy, Smurf Holly, Smurf.
In her like live action roles, and it's not a bad thing. I kind of wish that she would explore some more things that we don't get in this movie that I was kind of surprised about. So Smurfs have that Smurf language where like they replace everything with Smurf, like all their verbs and nouns and everything like that. We hear Papa Smurf saying, "Hey, is everything Smurfy?" And that's pretty much the extent. Like you know, they're not going around being like, "Oh, my Smurf," or just like just other like generic things like that's gonna be a Smurftastic plan, or just things where they just normally would say, and they just replace it with Smurf. We just don't really get that much in this movie. Also, Danny Pudi takes over as the role of Brainy in this movie. Brainy's always been like my favorite Smurf of all time. And I think part of it is because when I was growing up, I also was wearing glasses. And I think he does a great job as Brainy. But the character for Brainy is not exactly that Hanna-Barbera character, which I can understand. Like, they literally took the role of Brainy and just made him the smart Smurf. Brainy was always, in the original cartoons, he was always the one who always listened to Papa Smurf. He, no one in the village liked him too much. He was always critical of what everybody does. He always felt that he was he was correct. We see some of those all that and everything. We don't see him trying to be Papa Smurf's apprentice, like he's very known for, which we actually got in the first two movies as well. Other than like a part where Hefty and Brainy are like butting heads against each other, we don't really get that sense of like the Smurfs kicking him out, and like he's out of the village and like head first on the ground or anything like that. We don't get any of that in there. Now, what's actually really cute, Brainy has a ladybug named Snappy, and Snappy is like a tablet smartphone ladybug, and like he or she will go and like take pictures with its eyeballs, and then like throw it in the sand and everything. We actually got some like sweet little scenes when they when it draws some pictures for some of the characters. It was actually a really cool and cute little thing that they added in there, and there's other just practical things that Smurf has, because obviously this is like, you know, old Eastern Europe, so like when they're in the dark, and they need light, they have like a lightning bug in a test tube bottle, and they shake it up, and when the lightning bug gets tired, the light goes out. We get those kind of instances, which is actually really cool, just really nice touches that they really add that just was not present in the other two movies. Also, what I actually really liked, so the other two movies, they would like concentrate on like 6 Smurfs, and one of them would be a Smurf they made up named Gutsy. We do have Smurfs that they made up, like Table Eating Smurf, and they're just for comedic effect, just like Nosy Smurf. The group that actually goes together is Brainy, Hefty, Clumsy, and Smurfette. And obviously, if you're gonna do a movie, you can't like concentrate on everybody, especially since there are 100 Smurfs. We're not gonna physically see all 100 Smurfs. We're not gonna get the names of all 100 Smurfs. It was actually really nice how they got like those 4 people to have their own adventure. We do have like moments with Papa Smurf as well, but he takes more of a backseat role, just to kind of lead the way for these other 4 Smurfs. And the one that they really concentrate is Smurfette, and which makes really sense because she is probably like the most unique out of all the Smurfs. So one of the other differences between like the Smurfs that we grew up with these new Lost Village female Smurfs, the Smurfs we have, like, you know, it's like Brainy Smurf, Clumsy Smurf, Grouchy Smurf, you know, their adjective plus Smurf. This one we have Smurf Storm, Smurf Willow, Smurf Lily. It starts with Smurf and then it goes to like a object. Other than like Storm, like most of them are flowers and everything, and I'm pretty sure there's some other ones in there. It's just like little kind of changes and everything with these new characters, which is actually really cool. So overall, really enjoyed this movie, and I hope for more like this. Unfortunately, box office wise, like when we went to go see this in theaters, there was at least like maybe 5 other people. It was a pretty empty theater, and this is opening week. I know box office wise, Boss Baby actually did better, and Beauty and the Beast did better, and Beauty and the Beast has been out for almost a month now. So it's not looking like a good sign for a Lost Village 2, unfortunately. But overall, I really felt that this was a great improvement. Something that's more for the people who grew up with Smurfs. If you grew up really liking the Smurfs, or you just really enjoy the Smurfs and everything, you should definitely check out this movie. Even if you had no interest in seeing the 2 live-action movies, this has nothing to do with any of that, or any of them, or anything like that. If you're a general animation fan, or if you want to take your kids and you want to introduce your kids to Smurfs, this is a great way to introduce it to them instead of the two Neil Patrick Harris movies. And I will say, if you actually did enjoy those movies, definitely give this one a shot, because I really felt like this one was a lot better. We actually get the Smurfs into their own element, which was a very nice and welcome change. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie. If you see this movie, you know what? Let me know. I want to know what your opinions are down in the comments below. And if you're planning to go see this movie, let me know. If you're not planning to go see this movie and for some reason you listen to me talk about this. And we'll see you guys next time. Alright, see ya.